Neighbors in the 3rd Ward and the East Side Hill neighborhood are taking a tour tonight with city engineers, city council members. No one will be allowed back into their homes tonight as a precaution. You can already see kind of a thin layer on all the cars. You can scratch it off, and you know if it's happening on the cars, it's going to be happening on the sidewalks. And the space in between the two main stages has been filling with more and more people. The roads are looking a lot better than they did earlier this morning. It's looking like this commute home from work is going to be a lot better than the commute to work this morning. We have not been able to confirm any new information about what happened, but we have seen a lot of the crews start to pack up. If you see these giant skillets over here, each one of those holds about 500 eggs. It's not every day you're seeing 1,000 eggs being prepared. Homes around here are pretty close together, which the fire department says can be a concern because of those high winds. Ben Hansen, who you just heard from, he's actually the crew chief over at the stage behind me, this flambeau stage. The size of that operation has been scaled back for the night just because of the darkness, but officials say law enforcement will be out here to some degree still searching. Over 900 animals came through this facility, most of which get back out into the real world. But for some animals, like Barker here, that's not an option and they can't get out on their own. It's pretty open lanes here on Claremont Avenue, which is good for drivers because that bypass for Claremont Avenue on Short Street is still closed. Refuge Farms.
Yeah, we're the ones that get called after the other rescues do their job.
A haven for horses who need a helping hoof. Blind, broken, and battered, their hooves often on their last beat.
You would think by now we would have emptied out the pit, wouldn't you think? That we would have been getting to a point that we would be talking about maybe it's time to close. But that's not the case.
For 2 years, Refuge Farms has been working toward building an indoor heated hospital. But for every step forward, another hurdle.
We are built on the philosophy that saving lives, whether they horse or human, are what we do. There would be an opportunity for us to save a life or not save the life. Spend the $500 and save the life, or not spend the $500 and let the life go. We would invariably choose to save the life.
Organizers say they're still about $6,000 short of a finished hospital. But some stalls will be open this winter for the first time, providing a place of healing for some and for others, a moment of peace.
There are things far worse than death. When I started rescuing, death was something that I avoided at all costs. I worked and I worked very, very hard to save every life. I now have the wisdom and experience to spend some time with the animal and see where they are. And sometimes they look at me and just say, help me, just get me out of this hole. And then we help them cross.
For Eau Claire's Own News 18.
Where there's life, there's hope.
I'm Emma Wheeler. Once a heavenly place to spend your summer, Summer Haven Resorts now stands with a new shoreline. But a recent tornado touchdown wasn't enough to slow down the summer getaway.
Our main entrance all the way to the other end was covered with trees, and we had 5 trailers upside down.
A May tornado that stormed through Chautauqua left many wondering what the future would hold.
So we were walking through what used to be a grove. It is now empty. It'll be back. Trees will be back.
Summer Haven was left with 38 damaged campsites and 3 out of the 4 cabins temporarily out of business.
And in Cottage 2, it was our roofs and our sheetrock. In the resort business, you've got 20 weeks to make your money. And when Mother Nature chopped off 6 of those, you know, it's a loss.
But ahead of one of Chautauqua's biggest holiday weekends, cabins and hope have been restored.
There's no place like this place, any place. No.
This 4th of July weekend, the resort will welcome its first guests of the summer.
The new deck is ready for you, and the lake is still there, and there's still great fishing, so what more do you want?
Summer Haven says community support is what kept the resort going, and it's what kept all of Chautauqua pushing forward.
When the storm hit the area back in May, you started looking at, you knew this was going to take months of cleanup, probably into next year, and you started wondering how it was going to affect not just, you know, the day-to-day lives, but, you know, from the Chamber's perspective, the commerce in the area and that. And the outpouring of support is what has gotten us here and allowed us to continue really almost without stopping.
You know, we want to make the best of this year, you know, just a little setback.
For Eau Claire's Own News 18, I'm Emma Wheeler.
It's home. It's home. It's home away from home.
Yeah. Stephanie Dolan is 28 years old. a mother to a beautiful, healthy 4-month-old son. But life hasn't always been so picture perfect.
When I say losing grasp of reality, I created my own reality. The paranoia that comes over you. I mean, I had blankets over the windows. I had nails in the doors.
For 10 years, Dolan's days were defined by police sirens, broken down doors, and jail cells.
Meth took my soul. I don't know how to explain it. You get a craving for it that it's unexplainable, and you can't function without it. It's just something that has to happen, and you'll do anything to get it.
After 10 years of running and hiding, Dolan found herself bruised, broken, and 4 months pregnant inside those familiar caged walls.
I was so tired. That's the best word to describe it. I was exhausted, and I knew if I kept going, I was going to die.
Dolan spent 2.5 months in the Dunn County Inpatient Treatment Program. While there, she gave up everything from her hometown to her social group. In the process of losing everything, she found herself. Marshfield Clinic substance abuse director Sheila Wykes says it's like taking back what drugs stole.
It changes one's focus from taking care of their kids and going to work and having a place to live to seeking the drug. And ultimately that becomes the only thing that's important. And yet that other person who valued those other things is still in there. If we can get the drug addiction piece managed to the point where that other person can come back out.
Dolan attributes her success to forgiveness and self-acceptance, which Wykes says is crucial to recovery.
The behavior is not the person. I don't even like the term addict. I don't use it. The people have to come first. When we put labels on, it reduces the person to a label. And that does not help how the person feels about themselves.
By letting go of guilt, she grabbed a hold of a new life that's bigger than addiction.
These goals I've had, you know, people talk about like an American dream and what you expect out of life. I'm living that now. It's not something I thought I would ever have, and I feel like that chapter of my life is finally coming to an end. I'll never forget it, and I never want to forget it.
She's lit up her past path of darkness with a beacon of hope and is carrying this message: never give up.
Anybody deserves recovery. Anyone. You just need to want it, and if you want it bad enough, you're going to do whatever it takes.
For Eau Claire's Own News 18,
Don't give up hope. There's always hope.
I'm Emma Wheeler.